have to pardon my keeping asking what did you say, because I don't hear very well.
That's fine. That's fine. I was looking at some of your records from the war. You're a junior. Your dad's name is Clarence Enger as well.
What's that?
Your dad's name, Clarence Enger Sr.?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That was my dad, yeah.
Yeah. What year were you born?
1919.
1919.
Yeah. So I can tell you all about the bad years, the 1930s, the drought, the poor crop, the no crop, poor prices.
I'd love to hear it. I mean, I can go on the computer and I can read about it, but it's not the same necessarily as hearing it.
Oh, well, you know, I forget. I can't be totally accurate on this, but we had, before that drought started, we had 30-some head of cattle, because that's all that we had pasture for. Well, when it started and didn't rain, pastures were drying up, Dad had to sell, like everybody else, most of the cattle. And of course, the prices were never any good. So it was a touch and go there during the mid-30s, beginning in about 1934. I remember 34. It blew dirt so bad, the wind was so strong that it blew the pastures. You know, it blew the dirt right out from from the sod. That's how strong those winds were. And boy, it was tough. But I'll tell you something else, and you may not believe it, but that's up to you. But we had more, I don't know what the right word is, growing up in those days than they ever do now. Growing up in those days, you almost were like one big family with the neighbors.
Right.
In the wintertime, when the roads were blocked and everything, we'd still get together some way or other, with a bobsled and
community.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was. And something like that doesn't take place today. The fellowship between the neighbors is gone. And the fellowship we had then, you can't replace it.
So what were some of the things you were talking about? You were talking about the hard times, but you touched on like sledding.
Yeah.
Yeah? Tell me about having fun, blowing off steam, during those times.
Well, the fun part was there was no money. That was one thing. Dad had no money except for and that's the way it was with everybody, except for the necessary things for the winter, like coal and flour and the necessities. But I'm sure every mother was the same. My mother was an excellent cook. Absolutely incomparable. And I'm sure the other mothers were about the same. So, Mom baked every week, she baked 6 loaves of bread. And we ate 1 loaf a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, we had our own meat. We butchered a hog and butchered a steer. And we didn't have any, there was no refrigeration. So what we did, my dad was a good meat to cut up meat, like the roasts and the chops and all that stuff. So what they did, they brought the stuff in here, and he and Mom would or Dad would cut it whatever size it was of chops or a roast. Mom would wrap it, and then we had a big barrel on the northeast side of the house. It would have been a 55-gallon wooden barrel. So we filled that. And remember now, this is wintertime, and it stayed frozen until spring.
Right.
So we didn't have to worry about refrigeration.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember Mom going
that
out.
That was in this house, yes?
Yeah, and then we moved up here in 1937. We lived across the road because my grandmother, this was my grandmother's house, and she was beginning to fail. Mm-hmm. And there was only one thing that Dad could do, and that was to sell our little house across the road, and the family moved up here. And Grandma lived, probably a year and a half after we moved up here. She died in 1938. Mm-hmm. And she was right straight from Norway, just like my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
All my grandparents came from Norway.
What part?
I can't tell you. That's where I've been lax in asking where, you know. But anyhow, getting back to this meat business, we had absolutely no problem with anything spoiling on us, because there was a certain amount of the meat Dad would smoke it out here in the yard, like the ham and the bacons, and that would be from the hogs, you know. Mm-hmm. And anyhow, I could tell you something kind of funny.
Please.
You may not believe it, but it was happening to me. When I was growing up, I wanted to be able to drive 4 horses on a 10-foot drill, seeding grain, you know.
Yep.
Well, I wanted to be able to stand on the drill, like the hired man did. Mm-hmm. Well, that's fine. I finally reached that age, so I could do that. Well, one day I was seeding grain down. That's south, isn't it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Seeding down here with those 4 horses and the drill, and it was getting to be about 11:30
a.m. in the morning.
In the morning, and I was thinking, yeah, well, it won't be too long until we can unhook and go up and eat, you know. Well, guess what? About 11:30, the wind was from the north. I could smell Mom frying something. I don't know if she was frying ham or what it was, but boy, it was a good odor of meat. And not only that, but the horses could tell it.
Mm-hmm.
Their heads were bobbing up and down here, more than usual.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it was time to unhook,
mm-hmm.
so they could get up in the barn. And those are some of the experiences that I will never forget, but kids today will never ever have. The guys my age, both older and me and some younger, have had more experiences, talking about farmers,
mm-hmm.
than these guys today, if they live to be 80.
Yeah, now they're air-conditioned cabs.
That's right.
No mosquitoes, no flies.
No.
It's like a Cadillac.
That's
a
right.
green or red Cadillac.
Yeah.
Well, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
One of each.
One of each. Are you the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
What's the name? What's your brother and sister's name?
Donald is the brother,
mm-hmm.
and Beatrice is my sister.
Yeah.
But we had a cousin of mine came to live with us when he was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
His mother was my mother's sister, and she passed away at an early age. And don't you suppose the father died the next year? So there was about 6 children in the family, and you could call the youngest orphans if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them came here to live in 1930. Ralph was born in 30. Yeah, he came to live here in 37. There's no one else to take care of him. And anyhow, so he's considered another brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he lives in Glendive, Montana.
See, that's something else that you don't see these days, too, is that sense of family,
Yeah.
taking somebody in and caring for them, treating them like your own.
That's right. Yeah, no, he like my brother Don, went on to college in Ellendale, graduated, and went into a teaching career
mm-hmm.
in mathematics, teaching calculus and everything.
Wow.
And that was his career. It's
What about grade school, elementary school, high school? Where did you
well,
guys go?
I tell you, grade school we had just a little ways from here. All of us, including me, my sister, and Don and Ralph, all went to the same grade school, and that was through the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went on to high school. All of us did.
Was that here too, or did you bus in to Oaks, or?
Yeah, there was no bus in those days, so if a country kid was going to go to high school, he had to find a place to stay in Oaks.
Oh.
And that's what I did, or the folks found it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Same with my sister and my brother Don.
Did you have family there, or did you? Was it like a boarding house, or?
Well, no, it was just people willing to take in students, because they were paid,
Right.
Not paid much, but it was extra income. for that family.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been less than $15 a month.
Well, that's still a lot of money back then.
Oh, $15. I wonder what in the world that would have bought. I mean, what in the world does $15 would buy now, compared with $15 we had then?
One meal.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
You have your choice of breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and that's
Yeah.
it. Well, I assume, I know that you are a vet. Did you join the service out of high school, or?
No, I was drafted. See, in 1941, summer of 1941, we were not at war yet, you know, but I had registered.
Mm-hmm.
I still got my registration card. It's kind of, fading out, but I still carry it.
You have it in your wallet.
Well, I don't have any money.
But you have your registration card.
I tell you what, I'll let you go through it. There's no money in here. But you just see what you can find in there.
Well, how old were you when you registered?
21.
21. So what'd you do in between high school and 21?
I was home here with Dad.
Working the farm, doing the farm life.
Yeah.
So after you registered, how long did it take them to call you?
Well, I went in January of 43. I was supposed to have gone in 6 months earlier, but I got a 6-month deferment on account of the harvest.
Oh, yes, very important even back then. Okay, so you get the call, or you get the letter, or a representative came to see you and let you know that you had been selected.
Yeah.
What happened then?
Well, I don't know if I can remember this right, but anyway, I know that I was selected sometime during the summer of 1942.
Mm-hmm.
And in January of 43, there were 11 of us from this county were called down to Fort Snelling. And that's about all I can...
Fort Snelling is in...
St. Paul.
St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where they gathered you together, and where'd you do basic training?
That was down in Florida.
Florida, see. I think we talked about this previously. It was either Eglin Air Force Base or MacDill. Was it in Tampa or Jacksonville, or do you recall?
It was in St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. Beautiful city. And then from basic training, you went to advanced technical school. That was Fort Meade, correct?
Yeah.
And you went, your job, your specialty?
Well, it was the International Morse Code. That's what I went to school. Well, a bunch of us went to school, to code school. And anyway, now the International Morse Code is not the same as the Morse Code.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it got to the point to quite a few of us that no matter how, that if they were sending it, that that code, it's 20 to 30 words a minute, we could all copy it. And that was right. And it got, if they were sending it fast, it was just one long line. It was almost, to an ordinary person, it would sound like a blurb. But you get used to that. I still, once in a while, just to myself, I will remember the code of certain words. And I'm sure that's the same way with the rest of the guys that went.
You can hear the little dee 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 in your head. Yeah, it never leaves you.
It doesn't.
And Fort Meade. Now, this was it was the Army Air Forces at the time.
No, it was Fort Meade, Maryland. What in the world was it? I can't, other than the fact that I went to school there. And
see, I'm horrible. I can't remember if it's the Army Air Corps at that time or if it's the Army Air Force. You know,
I was part of the Army Air Force.
Okay, it was before that the Air Force became their own.
Yeah.
And this is Fort Meade is also where we heard about your range qualification mastery, where you qualified. You scored the highest in your unit.
On what was that? The highest in
for shooting your weapon.
Oh, the shooting! Oh, yeah. Good night. Yeah. Yeah, we shot. Shot the 1903 model Springfield bolt action. And
30-06.
Huh?
30-06.
Yeah.
Big caliber weapon.
That's exactly right. But anyway. Yeah. See, when I left home here, all we had was a .22, but I could shoot, and I knew it. And now, that's not a point of bragging, not in the least. But when I got a hold of that same thing as a 30-06 deal, and I got on a 200-yard range in, we had two types of firing. One was rapid fire, and one was slow fire or ordinary. One in rapid fire, they enlarged the target. In rapid fire, I hit 13 bullseyes out of 15 shots. And in the other, slow fire, I did not do that well.
Yeah.
I took too much time aiming.
Well, you were good under pressure, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, for our outfit to shoot, it took all week. That's how many people there were in our outfit. It took all week. And I didn't, I'd spend most of the week marking targets. And so I got in on it on late Friday afternoon as one of the last shooters. So anyway, at the end of it all, I had outshot the entire bunch.
Farm kid from North Dakota.
That's right, it's a take off the farm. You're absolutely right. There wasn't, I doubt if there was a farmer who couldn't shoot well.
Probably not the same today.
Oh, you're right.
Back then you needed to, you had to.
Yeah. Man. Yeah.
So after Morse code, did you hop on a boat? Did you take a plane to head east?
To go to India?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went on a ship. It was on a British ship from the U.S. to Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
Then from Casablanca, we got on the train and went across North Africa as far as Algiers.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Algiers, we got on a Dutch ship. I used to know the name of that one. And from there we went to we got on it at Algiers, crossed the rest of the Mediterranean, down through the Suez Canal,
Mm-hmm.
the Red Sea, and the Red Sea. I'm probably the only one that stood by the edge of the ship, looking down to see if I could see any remnants.
Right.
And
You're talking about remnants of Moses?
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Pharaoh's probably covered up with silt and dirt by now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then we got to Bombay, India by that ship.
What was your first impression of India? The sights, the smells, the heat.
Well, when I really got to see it, it was at Calcutta.
Mm-hmm.
After we had crossed India by train from Bombay. And we had to wait for some equipment
Mm-hmm.
to come before we could build our radio station. So we had a couple of weeks with nothing to do, and we were camped outside of Calcutta. And honest to goodness, I'm not going to even describe the mess that I saw in Calcutta in some places.
Mm-hmm. Poverty and
Yeah.
Where was your final setup? Where did your unit end up setting up?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I know it was northwest of Calcutta, and it was at a place, or near a place, called Gushkara.
Mm-hmm.
But the Indians pronounce it Guskara.
Mm-hmm.
And it was okay. We had pretty good barracks. There was only 30 some in our outfit, and we had 2 barracks.
Mm-hmm.
And the tough part was living through the heat.
Yeah.
Beginning in May, all the way up through August. And that was tough.
And then you had the monsoons on top of that.
Yeah, then finally cooled off with the monsoons. Then was not too bad.
Yeah. Lots of rain, but it
Yeah.
wasn't hot.
No, not only that, I'll tell you something else. Nobody's going to believe it, but it's true. When the monsoon season starts and it rains, you can smell fish.
Really?
Yep,
Really?
that's correct. That is absolutely correct.
Huh. So as soon as you smell the fish, you know
Yeah.
the good weather's coming.
Yeah.
So what was the unit? The name of the unit you were with?
1st Radio Security Section.
Mm-hmm.
We were the first group to leave the U.S. to get into radio security.
So this would have been, let's see, section, if I remember my Air Force hierarchy. So section would have been part of a flight, a battalion.
We were part of what they called the 136th Signal Radio Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And their headquarters was in New York. And we were the first group to leave the U.S. to get into radio security in India.
And there was a British guy in charge.
A what?
A British guy in charge of the local forces there in India.
A British...
A British commanding officer.
Yeah, that was Lord Mountbatten.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a general over there, but I can't remember his name. Yeah, Lord Mountbatten.
Did you ever meet or no?
No.
And then how long were you in India?
Well, let's see. Started overseas on the 7th of December, 1943.
Mm-hmm.
And got to... Where did we go from there?
Well, was India your last tour? Your only tour?
Yeah. But we crossed, we went to Casablanca. Crossed North Africa.
Through the Red Sea.
By train, and then got on the ship and crossed the Mediterranean.
I imagine that.
Then the Suez Canal and the Red Sea. Yeah, that's right.
I imagine that took a few months.
Yeah.
And then on your return trip, did you go the same route backwards?
No, we got on the ship in Calcutta and came straight to Seattle.
Oh, through the Pacific Ocean.
What's that?
You went the Pacific on the way back.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been around the world.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, well, I've been across the Atlantic, Mediterranean, Suez Canal, Red Sea, Pacific.
I can say the same thing, that I've been around the world too, but not by boat. I've been on a plane.
Yeah,
And that takes a fraction of the time.
I know.
So you got back to Seattle. Is that where you were discharged from the service, or did you?
No, I was sent to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got discharged.
And then you came back to the farm.
Yep.
What was waiting for you when you got back?
What's that?
What was waiting for you when you got back? Did you start immediately farming with your dad, or?
Yeah, one of the first things that I did was I went out to pick rock.
Out of the pastures to be able to plow them?
Pardon?
So you could plow the fields?
Yeah, oh no, that was just loose rocks on top. On top, rocks appear every year, no matter how many you pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So after you plow the field, it doesn't matter how many times you plow the field.
No.
There's still rocks.
Yep.
Hence all the little rock piles on the corners of the quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you farm your entire life?
No. I worked in auto parts for 5 years in Oaks,
Mm-hmm.
and then moved to Everett, Washington, and I was there for 20 years
Mm-hmm.
in auto parts. I enjoyed that.
As a sales or a service guy?
It was just you could call it a service. We were working the counter of the parts store. People come, the mechanics and other people coming in and buying repair parts for whatever car they were fixing.
And then what made you come back to the Oaks area?
Well, it's just one of those things.
Homesick, had to come.
Yeah.
Did you come back to this house?
Yeah. Yeah, I lost my first wife to cancer. Six and a half years of it.
Mm-hmm.
Boy,
Tough times.
that was a toughie.
What's her name? What's her name?
I still didn't hear you.
Oh, what's her name? Your first wife's name?
Oh, Doris.
Doris.
Yeah.
Did you and Doris have any kids?
No.
No?
She worked at the telephone company out there
Oh, in Everett.
in Everett.
One of the Ma Bell companies. She was an operator?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you're right, yeah.
Oh, what did you do for work when you got back to the area, back to Oaks?
At Oaks?
Yeah.
Back here?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done anything.
Did you ever farm with any of the neighbors?
No, I worked for him though.
Yeah, as a hired man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who did you work for?
Well, let's see. I worked for Tom Schumacher.
Schumacher. Mm-hmm.
I worked for Lubin's up at near Fullerton.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the main two.
Yeah. Do you still keep in contact with?
What's that?
Do you still keep in contact with either one of those? I know Tom lives right down the road, and his sister's sitting right over there in the chair.
No, I haven't talked to Tom in a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, when did you retire?
Oh, that's been a long time ago. I'm 90 years old, you know.
Mm-hmm. You still look good. Well, what about music, or well, you said earlier that you used to read a lot. How many books would you read in a week, a month?
Well, I didn't pay so much attention to books as I did the newspaper.
Oh, that's right. You were a baseball guy. You were a pitcher, if I believe.
Yeah, not much.
Not much?
No.
Did you enjoy playing baseball?
What's that?
Did you enjoy playing baseball?
Oh, well, I wasn't as good as my dad. That was the big problem.
Was your dad in a minor league?
Yeah, he was in the early 20s. He was in what they called the Dakota League.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some big leaguers in that league at one time.
He was a pitcher as well.
Yeah.
What was his pitch? Was he a fastball guy or a slider?
I couldn't tell you.
What about you?
Well,
Anyone that you were particularly proud of, or you were just happy to get it over the plate?
yeah, that was it.
I feel the same way. My pitching arm is horrible, and I'm just glad it gets there.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Clarence, I appreciate your time. Thanks for talking with me. I enjoy coming over here, and I'll have to bring my. It's not a Springfield, but it's a Remington 1903 A3 30-06. I'll have to bring that back over here and let you hold it. Take a picture of you. You know, you still think you can do some port arms, or?
Well, it was at one time when I was in Fort Meade, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of training on that stuff, and we got up to 29 counts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, but now today I couldn't do one.
Yeah, there's. Let's see if now we're testing my memory. It's there's port arms, there's order arms, there's present arms.
Yeah.
There's right shoulder arms, left shoulder arms.
Yeah.
Goodness. And there's probably a few more that I'm forgetting. Well, you know, it's
Yeah.
you don't use it, you lose it, kind of thing.
All I know, and this is not bragging, all I know is when I went out on that rifle range, I knew I could shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. All I ever had was a 22, but I could shoot that thing, I tell you.
You know, I found an article in the paper from that year that talks about that. From the Oaks Times, I found an article in the paper.
Oh?
Oh yeah. I'll have to make you a copy.
What was it about?
Well, just that. It said that local farmer Clarence Enger shot first place out of his company in Fort Meade, Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A little newspaper clipping about the size of an ID card.
Okay. Well, you know, to kind of make it fair, I felt kind of bad for the fellows that were trying to shoot that hadn't done much shooting. They had to be told how to even to hold the rifle, you know.
Right.
And I had it all over him because I'd been shooting all my life. But the point was that they were just, this was their only time they probably ever held a rifle, you know, to be fair. I mean, a heavy rifle.
Right.
So they were getting a lot of instructions. Some of them, one guy, believe this or not, but it's absolute true. We shot from 3 positions, you know.
Yeah.
Well, when they were on their stomach, this one fellow was just shaking. He'd never shot before, you know.
So he was nervous about how it was going to feel, how he was going to react.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt, man, oh man, isn't, you know, yeah, somewhere Audrey has a paper, I don't know where it's at, with the names of the top shooters in our outfit. And all I know is my name is at the top of the list.
Yep.
And some of them hated the idea that just a farm plow jockey could
jockey.
could come and outshoot the whole bunch.
Yep. You were a technical sergeant, Tech 5. Is that correct? That's what it looks like here. You were part of the. They had tech ranks back there with the little T insignia on the rank.
Boy, I don't know what was it on?
It'd be a couple of chevrons with a T and be on your sleeve. I'm just looking at that paper that you were talking about.
Yeah.
I have it right in front of me.
Yeah, well, I can't see a thing today.
It's got Mr. Clarence Enger.
Yeah.
And it says T5, which I assume is a technical rank 5.
Yeah, then that was same as a corporal.
And you shot 175, which I assume 200 was the cap. And then I have a ribbon bar that looks like it has a good conduct medal, and this is stretching my what I remember. It looks like an expeditionary medal, but I'm not necessarily sure. And then there's an orange ribbon, which probably is a theater ribbon, probably India service.
Yeah, one of those is.
And then there's a silver ring that says Casablanca, 1943.
I bought that one. Yeah, I bought that one and I sent it home as a souvenir.
Well, it's still here.
Yeah.
It's still here. And then there looks like a pin, which looks like it would be a unit. It's a blue circle with a white star and a orange circle in the center of it. And that's probably a unit pin. You know, like Southeast Asia or something to that effect.
Could be.
And then I hold in my hand the subject of much conversation here today, the Sharpshooter Medal that you had got from that range, or as a result of that range. Let me see if I can put the pin inside of it. Little bugger is tough. Well, I don't want it to prick your finger. And then I have a couple of dog tags. You recognize that sound?
Dog tags. Yeah.
Dog tags.
Yeah.
Yep. This is has your address on it. My dog tags don't have my home address, but it says here. But this is back in the rural route days. This was Route 2, Box 43, Fullerton, Nodak.
Okay.
I think I'm holding. Let me take these. There's actually two sets in here. One is weathered more than the others. So, based on that, one was probably gotten at a later time. Here, let me see your hand.
What's that?
Hold your hand out for me.
I can't see a thing.
Maybe this will bring here some memories. Those look like the ones that you actually wore while you were in India.
Oh.
They have a nice. I wish you could see them. They have a nice brassy patina.
Oh, they do. No. Oh, that's the bunk I can't.
And then I have your. What is that called? That's your honorable discharge pin. You know the what they call that, the flying duck, or it's actually an eagle inside of a circle. But they used to give them out whenever you were honorably discharged from service. Yep. And that's all that's in the box. Nice little collection of things from that time. It's an honor to be able to see them.
Yeah, well.
Oh, Mr. Clarence?
Yeah, on my army blouse, I've got the Air Force label on one shoulder, and India, Burma on the other.
Do you remember what the Burma patch looked like?
No, I don't.
No. I'm gonna have to look that up.
No.
Well, sir, I thank you for your time. I appreciate you talking to me today.
Yeah, well, I enjoy the visit.
Absolutely. I'll have to come back and visit with you again.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Because I can't visit with myself. Because he doesn't know anything.